All right, this is the kickoff meeting for Ben and Magnus, and we usually start these out by introducing ourselves. I'll start. My name's AJ Roberts. I am currently taking over temporarily as the project lead for the mentorship group. I mostly full-time open source right now. I'm also job hunting, and that's it for me. Would you like to introduce yourself, Magnus?
Yeah. So hi, Magnus. I'm a software developer based in Sweden. Been doing software stuff for 20 years, give or take. I've been inside the Node community since 2012. And I maintain various projects, LevelDB, AirTap, pre-build, and I'm also involved in something called Delta Chat, which is pretty cool if you check it out. So, yeah, hi.
Cool. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm one of the early employees at NPM, where I've been for the past 4 or 5 years, working on the registry, and now I do product management at NPM. I've been part of the Node community since, I guess, 2010. So I've been, but more recently, I've been a contributor to Node. So I've been doing some contributions to Node, and I also maintain Istanbul, which is the test coverage library, and Yargs, which is a command line argument parser. So I've been involved in the kind of module open source space for a while, but just starting to contribute more to the Node.js itself, which I'm finding really fun.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Awesome.
And NYC.
Oh, NYC, yes.
Yeah,
I work on that
NYC.
too.
It's awesome.
Cool.
Cool. All right. So next, I will briefly outline the process of the mentorship program. So first, this is our first ever round. So we're considering it a beta round. So we'll want to get pretty detailed feedback from you guys on your experience through the process, so we can use that to make the program more stable for the next round. And kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. You're going to work together with each other to come up with a goal that you think you can accomplish within this first round, which is just 1 month for now. And the only requirement of the program is to create a mentorship diary on GitHub, which will just be an issue that we'll create for you. And you'll comment on it each time there's anything of note or significance between you two. Keep track of milestones and just meeting dates and stuff like that. Or if somebody misses a meeting, that kind of stuff. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is to have a path to moderation, because we want to be able to utilize the GitHub moderation team. So as long as it's on GitHub, we can have them help us out if anything was to need to escalate. Also, it helps us keep track of the progress of how everything's going with everybody. And lastly, it gives people who aren't currently being mentored something to look at to kind of get an idea of how the process works, and maybe give them a better idea about the scope that's being mentored to see if it's something they might be interested in. So that's how we'll start it out. And we have what we're calling an education assistant, Nick, who will reach out to you guys throughout the process and gather feedback. And he'll also be kind of your liaison if you have any questions or concerns, anything like that. You'll be working with Nick for that, and he'll reach out to you after this meeting. And so I already covered the duration, which is 1 month for this first round. Later rounds will be either 3 or 6 months, depending on what we discover through our feedback. As far as graduating from mentorship, we don't have an official graduation path right now for this first round, but it will be retroactive. So once we figure out how graduation works, anybody who went through the first round will go through that process and officially graduate. But for now, the graduation is just that hopefully you've met your goal that you set at the beginning. And if you're interested, we hope you will mentor in the next round. That's not required at all, but that was one of the reasons we started with a beta round, is we wanted to try to, we have such a disparity between the number of mentors we have and the number of mentees we have. It's like 15 versus like 800 something. So we're trying to even that out some, which is why we went with a shorter duration to hopefully ramp up our mentors before we switch to the longer duration. And that is pretty much it for the process. So Ben, if you'd like to kind of briefly explain the scope that you'll be mentoring in.
Yeah, I think Magnus picked the build scope was what we selected, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have, what this could mean could be a few things. I have a couple things in mind. One, you said you like NYC quite a bit. I've been working with a couple of folks at Google to try to expose, sorry, there's some traffic, do my best here. I've been working with some folks at Google to try to expose their V8 test coverage within Node itself, which would potentially mean that we could modify the test coverage build step a bit to be able to use native V8 test coverage, which I'd be really excited about. This is kind of my medium-term project I'd like to be doing on the Node project, which I'm really, really excited about. Other stuff in mind is just there's some tooling related stuff I've been working on. We just landed recursive McDirt, which someone's literally mowing a lawn next to me now. This is, I think, the worst place to take a call.
No, it's we can't hear you. I think you've got noise cancellation or something. I can't hear.
That's good. But we've been working on adding some additional stuff to the file system, which, along with improving the tooling community, can be used to improve Node itself and how we approach unit tests and how we approach just file system access during the build process. So I don't know what, I can also work with you, Magnus, and find a project that you find exciting and just help advocate it. So really it's pretty flexible. What we did with the first mentor was just, since it's only a month-long process, was start with just getting Node up and running and just introducing kind of how to build Node and you know, a few things about how to run unit tests and everything, which I think if you're building level DB, you probably have built Node before and are pretty experienced in that regard, but we can have a session around that if you'd like. And I don't know, we can just figure out a project you find exciting and go from there. So I know that's kind of vague, but that's what I got.
That's perfect.
Cool. I mean, it could be anything. I guess my main skills is fixing shit, and whatever shit that means, I don't care as long as it's something that needs fixing, and I'm interested in pretty much anything. So I'm sure we will have no problem finding something to work on.
There's a really fun one that it's, maybe you call it tooling more so than build related, but unlink. RMDIR in libuv is not atomic, which means you can't really implement recursive remove directory in libuv very easily. Mm-hmm. So there's some really fun C related stuff if you are feeling like getting into the weeds a little bit. Yeah. Which because that project could be huge, because I think if we could get recursive remove into Node Core, I think it would run probably 100% faster than the JavaScript implementation. So that could be really interesting. Let's. What I would suggest is we connect maybe in the Node Slack, and we can just throw around some ideas to get started too. That's a great place to reach me.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. That's a lot of, y'all just covered a lot of the agenda on your own there, so I didn't really have to guide that. But so the only thing that's really left, I think, is the privacy and code of conduct. So this is also not required, but we are asking people to record their mentoring sessions if they're willing, so that you know, those 800 people who are waiting to be mentored have some content to look at while they're waiting. Ben has already agreed with his other mentor that he's okay with it. So how would you feel about that, Magnus? I should preface that by saying you're free to say ahead of time anything you don't want shared can be edited out, or you can have a private session at the end for things you don't want recorded. So
Okay. Well, do I have to decide that right now, or can
no,
I
that's fine. No, you can decide with Ben later.
Yeah.
So just in case you do decide that, or decide that you're okay with doing that, the way that works is you'll just you guys will come up with whatever way works for you to record the meetings, whether that's through Zoom or any screen sharing software or anything like that. The only requirement is to get it on YouTube somewhere and then share the link with us on GitHub, so that we can add it to the list so other mentees can find that. And then okay, so the only other thing to cover is the Node.js code of conduct, which applies to all of the interactions within the mentorship process. And Ahmed usually gives kind of a breakdown of that, but I don't feel like I know it well enough to do that. But you can find the code of conduct, and I can link to it. And
I think it's the contributor covenant, right, which is used on quite a few projects.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go on and share that in the chat right now, and you guys can just look over that and know that that will apply to the mentorship process. And I think that exhausts the agenda. So do either of you have any questions?
My main thing is let's just sync up in the Node Slack if that's okay, Magnus, and we can kind of plan a project from there.
That's fine. I only need to fix my account there because I generally not use Slack, but details.
I can open up IRC too if you prefer IRC. Either's fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Oh, I'll find you an IRC then. That sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm on Freenode.
You could also use the Zoom chat if you want to go on and send them your information now, so to save them some time, or not.
Yeah, I'm on a phone, so it's got a little hard. Yeah.
Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. You have any questions, Magnus?
No, not at the moment.
Great.
All right, I'm very excited. Maybe we can enlist more help on some of our mad science. It's gonna be fun. Cool.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. And I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
And reach out to me on Slack or email if you need to for anything, both of you.
Okay.
And like I said, Nick will be in touch with you. So
yeah.
You guys have a good day.
Yeah. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.